Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and an interesting one today, as it always is. Just to give you guys context, today is the 11th of December 2023. I realized on this channel, a lot of this news that I go through and discuss is very time and date dependent. So you may be watching this in a year and kind of seeing some of this data thinking this doesn't sound right. So right now we're in December 2023, and the topic that I'm discussing today is apparently the median price for an OC, that's Orange County home, has reached a record high of nearly $1.1 million. So this actually was a bit surprising to me, just because Orange County is a very in-demand place to live. Obviously, it's Southern California. It's very close to Los Angeles, a major hub, and it has got some absolutely amazing places to live in Orange County. You've got Laguna Beach, Huntington Beach. You've got places like, there are so many places that are fantastic places near the ocean and further away from the ocean that are great to live. But the record of the price being $1,085,000 for a typical house. This is not for a really nice luxury home. This is a typical house volume, has jumped. And this was information and data that was recorded in October, which is why we're now getting that stat out at the moment. But that has jumped 14% since last year. So that is a huge jump. And the actual general rise in prices across Southern California is 4.3%, leading it to $735,000. Again, a massive amount of money. But for some reason, Orange County has jumped, basically three times that amount, more than three times that amount. And so I am not entirely sure why that is. So I'd really like to ask the community, ask you guys out there, why do you think that this has jumped such a degree in Orange County as opposed to other parts of Southern California? So the reasoning that I've discussed before in this, which actually they've actually mentioned in a couple of the articles I've been going through, is mortgage rates increase. It means that people are not looking to sell their houses. If you have a 30-year mortgage locked in, you are not looking to sell your house when you had a 3% interest rate at now 9%. So therefore, the amount of supply in terms of houses coming to the market is significantly reduced. So that has meant obviously that prices are not really going to come down. Now, there are less buyers out there because of the same reason. However, it does seem like there are more buyers who have accepted this interest rate. I think also because in the US, you can refinance your mortgage. So that means if you get a 9% increase interest rate now, the talk for next year is we are going to see slight decreases in the base rate. And so therefore, if you're paying 9% now, you may be able to reduce that actual percentage that you're paying per year, say down to 7%. Again, this is just a complete average, a complete guess on my behalf. But obviously that is going to allow you to reduce those payments as you are also able to lock down a house, as opposed to the person that has, a 30-year mortgage. Therefore, they are not really going to see the same value of money, at least in the short term, that they have locked in and had over the last 10, 15 years. So 735,000 is Southern California. California is a very big place, and Southern California is a huge area. But the typical monthly house payment in Southern California is now a record $4,160 a month. So that means that you're paying basically $50,000 in mortgage payments before your cost of living, before other things that you're paying. So that to me is also crazy, that people earn a lot more money in the US, I found, just in terms of the level of inflation that we've had compared to the UK, where I've got property, where my family live. And so they do make more money, I would say, on average compared to the cost of living. But $50,000 a year just to live somewhere is kind of crazy, especially when you can probably rent a property for quite significantly less than that, depending on the area, obviously. And so apparently home sales for the 6-county region have fallen 8%. So we've seen an increase in prices. However, we've seen a reduction in volume. Now that's in sales, especially, which has kind of led to that, as we've said. But that apparently has been the second lowest level for an October since 1988. So that was before I was born. I was born in 1989. So that has been a pretty crazy drop off in volume of houses sold because the population in Southern California and in the world globally was lower, obviously, in 1988 than we are in 2023. And it has meant that actually there's been a consistent fall for 23 straight months. So basically, for 2 years, there has been a reduction every single month in the amount of properties sold. So as I've discussed, the interest rates are a big part of that. And apparently now, this again is data just taken from someone doing a poll, is that a third of Americans right now are rooting or would like, if you're somewhere else not in the US and don't understand what rooting means, a housing market crash. So obviously, I think if you are a homeowner, you're probably not hoping for that. But apparently, a huge amount of millennials and Gen Zs, I'm a millennial, are hoping for a crash in the property market. And I can understand why. If you are looking right now at the property market and where prices are at, there is a very strong chance that if they continue where they're going or stay where they are, you may never buy a property. And so I've also seen a lot of headlines about, does the American dream still exist? You know, are you able to go somewhere, get a job, earn money, buy a home, you know, own a piece of America and start a family and therefore kind of live the American dream? A lot of people are saying that's now gone. That doesn't exist. It's not something that really people can expect to achieve if they work very hard in the US. And so that's quite a scary thing because obviously it's always been the dream of America, the American dream, that people will come here, you know, immigrants will move to America, and that will be something that they can achieve. And so the fact that 30% of Americans are now hoping that the market crashes would probably indicate to me that there's about 30% of people at least who don't own a home. And that again is, you know, it's a lot of people, and obviously that is the younger demographics, millennials and Gen Zs that are coming into adulthood and kind of their, you know, 30s, 20s. And so obviously that's going to kind of price them out. Now, obviously, what we've said here and what I'm reading through here is that the amount of buyers are outpacing the amount for sale listings, which has kept the property prices where they are or increased them 14% in places like Orange County. And so, yeah, we've seen a very low amount of transactions going through. Now, other comments, which again I've talked about in this channel over the last 2 months, kind of in September and October and November 2023, is that we are not looking particularly good in terms of people working in my industry. Now, that is a real estate broker. And so if you are earning your money off selling houses and the amount of houses selling are going down and down and down, it doesn't really matter the change. It does, but doesn't matter to the same degree the change in prices. If you're being paid 2.5 to 5% of a property sale, if it's going up 14%, obviously you're getting paid 14% more. But if you've seen the biggest drop in actual sales, your volume or the amount of houses you're selling is reduced significantly. Also, the same situation for mortgage brokers, although we have seen an increase in people refinancing. I discussed that in an earlier video. So if you'd like to see that, definitely go back and have a look at that discussion. However, they are also saying there should be a slight rebound in the market. Now, a slight rebound is not a huge rebound, obviously, from the description. And so that is not going to take us back in any way to a 2020, 2021 level of sales, which was historic. But it does mean that looking at the reduction in rates that are predicted next year, they aren't confirmed, but that does mean that we are going to probably see more buyers enter the market and more sellers consider selling their properties. And so that, as inflation is cooling, that's kind of what we've heard. So the number of transactions apparently have reduced 8.6%. That's a 10% reduction since last year, which was kind of where the sales were dropping off. And that is 4,200 transactions, not a huge amount for such a large area. So yeah, so that's kind of my point for today, guys. As I said, I don't really understand why this is so much more in Orange County, more than there is in LA County, places historically where there's more demand. it may be that probably some of those markets have reached maturity where people do not see them as being worth that amount. You know, if you're looking to live in LA and before you needed to do that commute into somewhere where you're working, an office, etc., now you can probably live in Orange County. You know, it's an hour drive, 2 hour drive outside of LA if you're working from home more regularly, and the quality of life and the affordability of living there is higher. 14% is an increase. That could explain something about it. But as I said, I don't work in that market. I don't understand why. So I would love to have your guys' feedback. Anyway, guys, that is my talk for today, 11th of December, 2023. Hope you guys are good wherever you are. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. And if there are any topics you would like me to discuss, let me know. Goodbye.